Welcome back to the UBF podcast. I'm Abdul.
And I'm Thomas.
And we're back with our third show.
Mate, it's come quick, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We're just rolling along.
Just rolling, mate. You look happy.
I do. You would be surprised. My team got 2 wins on the bounce.
No way, that's unheard of.
Yeah, I represented it well. I've got 1 win against Sheffield and 1 win against Newcastle. Yeah. I'm just missing the third. Hopefully it does come next week, though.
Sadly, we know it's going to end next week.
I've got something for you, Abdul, before we start. Running from the left to right. Cole Palmer is dynamite. Sign him up for 8 more years. Chelsea boys are on the coffees.
Look, good chant. I just changed from dynamite to the flipping shite. That's probably what I'd go for, but...
Don't be jealous, mate. Don't be jealous.
No, it's all right. He's on fire.
He's on fire. But before we do go on to our usual Prem stuff, we do want to make a statement to our fans and everyone else, especially concerning the Prem about Luton and Tom Lockyer especially. Our deepest condolences to what happened. And just want to give credit to the whole of Bournemouth staff, whole of the Luton staff as well. How they handled it, I think, was exceptional. And last I heard, he's in hospital doing well. Yeah. And yeah, we just wish him a speedy recovery and whatever that does happens. Any thoughts on that, Abdul, as well?
Yeah, best wishes to himself for the speedy recovery. It's not easy on the family as well. Yeah. And it's not an easy thing to see on live television as well. Like we saw it with Christian Eriksen a couple of years ago with the Euros
as well. Yeah.
It's not a good sight to look at. So best of recoveries
to Tom Lockyer. Yeah, but I think it did have one against Coventry as well in the Championship playoff.
Yeah,
2 years ago, I believe. So yeah, it's a shame. Hopefully we can
see him on the field again one day,
mate. Hopefully he gets back to what he does best. Yeah, captaining Luton, and hopefully for them they use this as a bit of inspiration to go forward. Hopefully they can use it as a bit of energy, and hopefully they can kickstart their campaign.
We saw it with Denmark. We did in the Euros at the time.
Went to the semis.
It is definitely inspiration, and I hope it kicks on for Luton.
Absolutely. Moving on to the fixture of the week, not in terms of the scoreline, but in terms of the hype, especially your team. You guys like to hype it up because you're concerned about Liverpool United.
Yeah.
0-0. I'll tell you what, I should have stayed in bed.
Oh, mate, I saw that first half an hour. To be honest with you, I thought United were about to get absolutely steamrolled.
Yeah, correct.
And they didn't.
No.
Surprisingly, it wasn't Eric Sevenhag that day.
Mate, you said last week could have been 8.
8, could have been 8, 9. Mate, look, if they had finished, we'd be having a different story.
I'll be honest, for the talent they have up top, we're talking names-wise, and the reserve in attack as well, they got some seriously finishing problems. They can't finish. Yeah. They can't finish.
I mean, what team has Mohamed Salah and can't finish? Mr. scores 30 goals a season. Mr. Golden Boot himself. Yeah. Mr. the only one that could keep up with Harry Kane.
True. Especially for 2-3 years back to back. It's a problem. I think when Jota comes back as well, they're going to help because Jota, for his height, he scores a lot with his head, both feet. He's incredible. But yeah, it's a shame. I didn't predict a United 0-0. I just simply didn't.
I prayed for it, and I got it.
You prayed for 0-0?
I prayed for a draw, or just them to drop points, to be honest with you. And then
would it have been better, though, for your team if United won?
No, because I wouldn't have heard the end of it from the United fans.
That would have lasted a week. Not a problem.
I just don't want to hear it. So, look, they just could not finish. And there's one man up front that was absolutely shocking, and he's Mr. Darwin Núñez himself.
Mate, I'll never forget the comparisons.
The
Erling Haaland.
You can't even compare him to Julian Alvarez, mate.
For me, is the experiment over?
Yeah.
Experiment's done?
Yeah. Like, if you're in a title race, in all honesty, he's not going to help you. He might score a goal here and there. I know he done it against the Toons. I know that he's had his moments where he's come clutch. He scored against us, I'm pretty sure, last year. But when you need him in crucial moments of the season, you need 15 to 20 goals. Yeah. He's not going to give that to you.
For me, I think he's the definition of a probably the roughest diamond. He's got things that he needs to polish out of his game. I think his touch isn't the best. No. I'll be honest. And he puts himself in awkward positions and angles where he will just have a simpler shot or a simpler pass or a simpler cross. I've seen a montage of his misses. Honestly, I haven't laughed harder in a while.
Oh, mate. He makes me look like Haaland at indoor. In all honesty.
Guys, I'm telling you, you got to go watch Abdul at indoor. I'm telling you, it's the second coming of Arno and Ronaldo.
That's when I'm up front. You see me in goals. Oh, better check.
But for you, it's over the experiment.
It's over.
So
it's in 75 million or whatever it cost them at the time.
Would you recommend in the January transfer window, if they're serious, because they are second?
Yeah.
Would you recommend they go out and buy a proven striker, maybe a bit older, to bag in those goals? Who would you get? That's the question.
That's the problem. Is that at the moment there isn't anyone.
Yeah.
That's you got Osim. This is the problem. You
You
want
guys-
experience.
You guys are almost linked with him.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys are almost going to sign him.
Yeah. You want experience. You're going to be looking at, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Unless you're going to sign a Danny Ings from the Championship. Or...
Not at that quality, be second in the Prem. Not a chance.
No.
Not at that quality.
There aren't many.
No.
It's a lot of the youthful ones coming through. You got your Vlahovic's, you got your Osimhen's, you got your Ivan Toney's.
Adeyemi.
Ivan Toney's one that they could look at. But
Yeah.
I think, again, he's probably more destined towards Arsenal at the moment.
Correct.
Um,
Quick one. Tony or Osimhen? Who would you prefer?
Tony.
Ooh. Is that because he's certified Prem proven?
Yes, and I think Osimhen, I don't know. For me, it's a Serie A. It's a different game in the Prem.
It is.
It's a very different game. And, you don't really hear much outside of,
They're both physical strikers, in my opinion, Abdul. You know what I mean? They've both got that physicality aspect. I know Osimhen's a bit quicker off the mark, but talent-wise, I think Osimhen edges it.
I'll give you a better example. We signed Trossard, you signed Mudryk. What worked out better?
I'm running a Chelsea kid on, so I have to say Mudryk. Trossard. Okay.
Trossard. Mate, at the end of the day, that Premier League experience is going to make a big difference. Instead of them coming into that team needing 3 months to get used to the league, he's going to come to the team. It's going to take him a few weeks to actually get used to playing with the team.
Yep.
And then let's hope he fires from there. And to be honest with you, it's Simmons. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a ball-playing striker.
No.
It doesn't seem like he's got hold of play. He's a running behind.
Yeah.
He's very similar to the Haaland mold.
He's a channel.
Yeah.
If you find him in the channel, he's gone.
Yeah. Not discrediting that. We've had those type of strikers.
But you've got Kvaratskhelia at Napoli that's doing that really well.
Yeah.
Saka can find him. Martinelli on his day can find him.
Yes.
Trossard can find him.
Yes. All right. You've seen how we look up front with Nketiah.
Your defense is in trouble.
Your defense is not in trouble. My point proven.
Talk to me.
Ivan Toney back into that defense. He's able to bring the ball down. He's able to bring players in. He's able to score himself, take penalties, whatever you need.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. He's going to cost you less than Osimhen. I'm not paying 150 million for a striker like that.
Yeah. He would cost definitely upwards of 100.
And
100%.
Liverpool will not pay that much.
No, not a chance.
But look, at the end of the day, you can have all these players, but if the ball's not in the back of the net.
True. Listen, you've got to give United some credit here. However, they did carry on like they've won the World Cup. The champion. Maybe even the World Cup. they carried on. Listen, to get a point at Anfield, I believe it's the hardest ground to go to. I believe it is. You can say whatever you like. It is the hardest ground to go to. To get a point there, okay, but it was the definition of Park the Bus FC, especially due to the main man Varane at the back who came in. Even Johnny Evans looked good at the back.
Yeah.
But it was the definition of Park the Bus FC.
You know what the sad thing is? I think the manager was happier with the performance than actual fans were.
He looked happy. He looked genuinely content. He looked, my job is safe for another week.
Like it's killing me, man.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, fair play. If we go to Anfield and get a point, that's a point one, not 2 points. It depends on the game.
Absolutely.
Depends how the game goes. But the fans weren't as happy as the manager. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? I was scouring through Twitter, and these United fans were literally turning around and saying, what have we become? We are celebrating a draw against Liverpool at Anfield.
I think Ten Hag knows the limitations of his squad. And I think Ten Hag went, shit, that's the best we're going to get. That's the best we're going to get.
Like, I don't think we're going to, like, it's honestly, at the end of the day.
Get me back to Ajax immediately, please.
Please get me back to Ajax. I will pay my transfer fee.
I won't take Onana, but get me back to Ajax.
Brother, honestly, like, in all honesty, that's his squad. He bought these players.
Yeah.
Okay. And the ones that he's...
4, yeah.
Yeah. Harry Maguire wasn't playing.
No.
Okay. Varane had a good game. Man of the match. All right. McSauce was playing.
Wasn't cooking.
It wasn't cooking. But he's been on form.
Fernandes wasn't cooking.
All these players that he's buying are never on form. Onana had a good game. But watch him concede 7 against the next team.
That's how it works. That's how it works. The only thing I'd like to mention before we move on, Liverpool fans, you bag on about having the best atmosphere in the thing.
Yeah.
For me, that was the worst I have seen Liverpool in a while. For me.
Yeah.
That was the worst I've seen Liverpool. It wasn't loud. It almost looked like you guys sort of gave up in the 70th, 80th minute to sort of try and salvage something, and it just went haywire from there.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. But that's Anfield a lot of the time.
I agree. Yeah, it's you'll never walk alone, and then
Look, to be honest with you, it was a bit like this signal that just come up on the TV, which I'm going to have to fix in a second.
we'll get that sorted.
It's started off with UBF, and then it went quiet after that. So that's how we can describe Anfield. Crickets. So bear with us 1 second.
Yes,
This is us being human.
I'm going to take your attention away for a second, Abdul, to Man City versus Palace. Where is City going wrong? Please tell me where is City going wrong, Abdul?
City, there we go. Whoops.
That looks better. There we are.
As I said in the song, I'm only human after all.
Rag and bone. We'll get him on.
We're back on. Okay, so
Where is City going wrong? Tell me.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you. I think if I could pinpoint it somewhere, lapses of concentration.
Can I suggest something?
Yeah.
I simply think they can't pull teams away. I think they've lost that when we are up, how do we maintain it? There was a moment in the 90th minute, Foden had the ball. Sorry, Edison picked up the ball on the ground. What are you doing as a keeper? Waste 5-6 seconds, you're in the lead, not a problem. 2-1 at the time this was. Kicks it to Foden. Foden loses it. They have a throw-in. Crystal Palace throw it. Bernardo Silva has it. Bernardo Silva loses it. In 30 seconds that happened, and then the player that originally lost it, who was supposed to keep the ball running to the corner flag, Phil Foden. Lost it, bang, there's your penalty. Finished. 2-2. So for me, that just describes Man City in these last month and a half. I'll tell you why. You name me a better team with ball position in the world, not in the Prem, in the world. Anyone?
Bias or no bias?
No bias. Man City, thank you. Good
Man
answer.
City, yeah.
For me, that's just un-Man City-like. They lose the ball 30 seconds. 2 of their experienced ball-holding players.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Can I raise you another question?
Of course you
Is it quite possibly they've just won everything and he's quite simply bored? Like,
for me, yes.
And is it over-reliance on a couple players with that type of mentality? You got your De Bruyne's, your Rodri's. Is it possibly that? Because Haaland's not Haalanding.
Well, De Bruyne looks like a new player with his fresh car. He looks all right.
Oh,
Looks good.
I love
Looks
it.
good. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But I would have to agree with you on that. For me, there's no motivation. It doesn't look like they're motivated to be there. However, Pep is Pep. Pep is probably shitting it currently in his home in Manchester. What do I do? I have no idea. But for me, he's gonna find something. He's just gonna find something. It's Pep.
Let me tell you, this is their worst start since I think 16, 17.
Yeah. It's. I think it's his worst. They've won 1 in 6. And I think that's their worst since his first come in. Was it 16, 17? That was his first season.
I believe. Well, this is the lowest they've been on the table in terms of points-wise after 16 games.
Shit. Didn't know that.
Yep.
And they can't keep clean sheets either.
No.
They're just defensive.
They've conceded 4 against Chelsea, 3 against Tottenham.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
You're playing 4 centre-backs. Okay, against Crystal Palace, they play Rico Lewis.
Walker as well.
I think Rico Lewis has been everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah, but I think Walker's having to play a position also that he's not very comfortable with. He's not the right back that goes forward and puts crosses.
He's not a right mid.
No, he's not. He's not. And he just looks uncomfortable. He's never been that type of player.
No.
Why now at 35 or however old? I'm pretty sure he's 35. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he's 35.
He's early 30s.
He's in his 30s somewhere.
Guaranteed.
Pep's getting him to overlap the right wing and go it's
silly.
No. And then at left back you got Gvardiol, who's barely gotten comfortable with the league in itself.
Correct.
Playing left back.
Yep.
You got Stones if he's fit jumping in the midfield. Fair enough. I think he can do it.
But for me, even as I coach at a sort of semi-professional level, if it's not working, your first sub can't be in the 95th minute, John Stones, for Lorico Lewis. They made one sub all game up.
Well, that's Pep. That's Pep for you. There's games where he's made no subs, Tom.
I know, but it's not working. You can see the first goal in the 76th minute.
Yeah.
Through one long ball, you realise, okay, shit, we might need some height. Rico Lewis I think I'm taller than Rico Lewis. Not a problem. You play your back five, you keep Rodri there.
Yeah.
And then you got your Fodens, you got your Bernardo Silva.
Look,
you bring John Stones in the 76th minute. 1,000% you do. What, you told me you wouldn't?
It's. I know that's the logical thing to do, but I go back to you say it's Pep Guardiola.
Maybe it's time for him to change.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm going to end that game on this comment. It's better for the league if Man City aren't doing as well.
I agree. For me, and we raised this topic last week, it's the most exciting league for me since Leicester.
Yeah, and it's. I'm saying that in full respect to Manchester City.
Yeah,
like don't take it the wrong way in the sense of, like just because they've got money. It's not that they've spent that money well. They've run that club really well, and I don't think there's a better run club in the world.
No.
Okay, but when they could still do it when they run away with that league.
Of course they could.
When they stormed that league with De Bruyne not always coming back in January, February.
Fresh cut as well. He's got a point to prove.
It hurts, and you know what? I know what it's like to be a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
When you think you've won that league. You just got in there. You got 5, 6, 7, 8 games to go, and you're like, surely. And then Haaland's scoring 3, 4 goals a game. De Bruyne's getting assists left, right, and centre.
Was that a certain team you read last year? Did you sort of feel like that last year in a certain team you read?
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
When was the last time your team felt like that? But it's okay.
Moving on to the team that's won 2 games in a row. Chelsea versus Sheffield.
Cold Palmer, mate.
Is it cold or cold?
Cold.
Or is it
Palmer.
ice cold?
Ice cold Palmer.
Ice cold Palmer. I'll tell you what. Once he was unlocked in that second half, we just exploded. I think what Poch, and you got to give him credit here. I don't give him credit much often, but he started the game at a 10. Mudryk on the left, Sterling on the right, Jackson up top. Nicholas, we'll call him Nicholas for today because he scored. But he made that tactical change. Halftime, Palmer went to the right.
Yeah.
And he put Sterling up top. We played a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Cooked. Because even in the first half, Palmer was sort of finding that channel inside the right. So obviously you got the 5 pitches in the channel. You got far left, far right, centre left, centre right, and you got centre.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer sort of likes to drift into that centre right, even to the right sometimes. That's where he sort of drifts. Because even at the time, he was playing diags to Mudryk on the left from halfway. He drifts everywhere. He's the type of player.
Yeah.
And once he was unlocked and he was given that freedom on the right, especially, brother, we cooked.
Yeah.
We cooked. And I get it, Sheffield. I know the comments are going to say, it's Sheffield. Okay, I understand. However, you can only face what you've got in front of you.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh, that's fair.
Obviously, you watched the game as well. Did you think that 4-4-2 really worked well for Chelsea?
I think it's simple.
Yep.
In all honesty, it's simple football, and that is what your team needs at the moment.
That's what I'm saying. I actually think we did the simple stuff really well. I think Gallagher and Caicedo had a really big part to play in that as well.
It's legs. It's legs in midfield. And with all due respect to Enzo, I've always said that midfield 3 was never going to work. I just don't think there's enough penetration there.
Yeah.
And I also don't think there's not an out-and-out 6 there either. Added to that, I don't think you have fullbacks that are available that can come into midfield and play that 6 role similar to how Trent is at Liverpool.
And to back up on that point as well, you can't play, or Poch can't have an idea in his head where he's going to play Reece James every week, because you can't have that. So you've got to adapt to what you've got. And what we had, I think we go into next week playing a 4-4-2, I'll be honest.
You reckon?
I think we do. Because Palmer, for me, name me a better player in the last 6 weeks. We'll try again. Name me a better player in the last 6 weeks. In the Premier League, mate. He's top 3. Is he top 3?
Yeah.
He's top 3.
Yeah, right now he's very, very much in form.
Yeah. Goal and an assist.
Look,
as well.
This is the thing. The 4-4-2 is a very simple formation.
True.
Okay. It is, let's just say, heritage football.
Yep.
It works well with the players that are developing.
Yep.
Because their roles are very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you got players like Cole Palmer, you've got players like Nkunku coming in who can, due to their experience elsewhere, can take on more advanced roles, more advanced positions, more kind of responsibility within that team. You can kind of tweak with it then.
True.
You know?
True. I think when Nkunku comes in, it's going to be very exciting For me, I would play him as that second striker.
Yeah, wait.
For me.
What, with Nicholas Jackson up front?
No, Nicholas Jackson gets in the bin, goes back to Spain.
Yeah.
But definitely, you put Sterling, you put Nkuku. Nkuku can sort of dip down and play as that 10, not a problem.
And then Modric on the left.
Modric on the left, Palmer on the right.
Palmer on the right. Yeah, no, that is fair. And you know what? I noticed that he took similar positions, that being Palmer, to how Odegaard plays. He likes to come inside in that middle right channel, but there's times where he'll overlap.
Correct.
Down that far right side.
I think where Odegaard sort of differentiates and is a class above Palmer, in my opinion, is he could do it in both channels, left and right.
A few classes.
We'll just stick for one class. Before we get on to my good friends Brighton, I'm joking, Arsenal. Villa Brentford. I'll tell you what, I thought I was watching a UFC match because it was quite boring until the 87th minute.
I could not hate two players more in my life. Honest to God, there couldn't have been two players that I hated more. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you know exactly why I do not like Neil Maupay.
It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace.
Brighton should be relegated. Nah, it's
Maupay's a cheat.
Yeah, Maupay's a cheat. Brighton should get relegated. If you know, you know. If you really want to know, it's the game against Brighton where he purposely done Leno's ACL and then Leno was giving it to him on a stretcher on the way back out. Yep. But anyway, that's for another day.
Absolutely.
Emi Martinez is an absolute bleep.
I said it last week.
Yeah.
He, for me, maybe he heard the podcast and went, oh, might be just rub these guys in from Bella Vista. For me, it just didn't make sense. And obviously, the red card to Ben Mee changed the game.
Yeah.
Brentford were in complete control, and it looked like Villa would slowly separate from those top three. But red card changed the game. Ramsey, for me, had an absolute blinder.
Yeah.
Jacob Ramsey, speaking of. He had the most chances in the game with 3. But if you want to quickly go on to the Emi Maupay incident. Emi collected the ball.
Yep.
Maupay ran into him.
Yep.
Added a bit of a scuffle. There were explicits shown on the TV. Bit of a expletive language.
Yeah.
And it seemed to settle at that. Not a problem. Then, this is what I don't like. I hate Maupay. I also really, really dislike Martinez. We left it at that. Martinez decided to grab, and it was a complete grab of Maupay by his shirt, and Maupay reacted. Now, then Kamara, out of nowhere, comes up. Was it a headbutt? Was it a punch? Was it a push? To be honest, there were so many angles I had no idea.
He struck him somewhere.
He did strike him somewhere, and he got a red. My argument to you, Martinez instigates that whole thing. Where's his red? Because there should have been at least 3 in that game. Ben Mee, yes. Kamara, yes. Yeah. Where's the third?
Look, I think this is the problem with the refereeing over there. I don't think they're the type to give a second yellow or a straight red for that type of stuff. Whereas...
But he instigates the whole thing.
I'm going to get to that. I think they should. Because I've seen it work well enough in other sports, such as the NRL. Yep. If I go and instigate a fight, I'm getting 10 in the bin.
Absolutely.
I don't know whether they need to bring in a 5-minute red card or a 5-minute sin bin.
For me, I'm not a big fan of that. I think just there's nothing wrong with the red card rule as it is.
Yeah, but if you've got people like this is for things like this, because then people are going to complain that's not a red card offense. Oh, you gave him a red. Why aren't you giving him a red? This is where I think little things, such as those yellow cards, or maybe you need to lessen it from 5 yellow cards to 3 for the suspension.
Yeah.
Because
I don't mind that.
You've got players like Bruno Guimaraes
getting away. This morning against Chelsea. Did you see that?
Oh, my God, he wiped him out clean.
Mattson, I have no idea what was that. Extra time, he just absolutely came and went bang. That's why I had to wear the scarf. I'm sorry. We had to. By the way, ice cold penalty again.
Yeah.
Tell you what, Martinez, that little wind up merchant wouldn't have saved that. Not a chance.
Nah, look, he's. I must say, he's a bit. Like, I want to keep it clean, but there's no other word to describe him. He is just, again, a bleep. A bleep.
Going on to your club that sold him, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah.
Arsenal versus Brighton. Mate, you got some serious finishing woes, I'll tell you that. You got some finishing woes.
Bro, should have been like 4-5-0 in that first half alone.
What was their first shot? 67th minute?
63rd, I believe.
Oh, my God.
And they almost scored off it. And that's what kills me is that, like, we need to be putting things away. We need to be putting these types of shots away. Correct. Like, Jesus had that many shots.
Oh,
Martinelli, I don't know who talked to him, but, brother, if he had that type of crossing last week, we would have been up 3-4-1.
Question for you. Is Edu Brazilian?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then they're swapped. So, Edu's playing left wing. Guaranteed. And he's playing left wing.
Mate,
that's it, brother.
let me just tell you this. We've just signed the Brazilian scout from Real Madrid.
Have we?
Yeah, Arsenal have signed him, which means we're gonna have 7 Gabriels come in the next season.
So Project Arsenal is happening.
Project Gabriel.
Okay.
Gabriel. The Gabriel 11 has come together.
Project Mbappe doesn't exist. It's Project Gabby.
Look, I must say, I think our tactical prowess, in all honesty, has been as strong as it has for a good, I'd say at least since the end of last season or since we won our run.
You got to give Arteta credit.
He is going in, and I can't blame Arteta anymore.
No.
Because he's now going into games setting up so well. Against Aston Villa, we done all we could. He done all he could.
I agree.
We just couldn't finish.
I agree.
This week, Brighton were out of it.
In terms of that, Rice, Havertz, Odegaard, and Gabby Saliba, they are delivering Arteta's message to an absolute T.
Yeah.
That's what I 100% agree with you. 1, 2, 3 at the front. They need Saka, not really. You can sort of give him for a slight dip because his level's at 22.
If he's not
21,
scoring, he's assisting Tom.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's incredible. But again, before we turn it into the Arsenal podcast, Lewis Dunk, standout performance.
Yeah.
Standout performance. He not pocketed Gabby because he got the header. And I think it was Lewis Dunk that actually went too close to the keeper.
Yeah.
Jacob Still, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And he actually allowed Gabby to be back post free. But
he copped one in the family jewels as well, mate. He was left, right, and centre.
He absolutely covered that back line.
Yeah.
Do you want to sort of explain to our viewers quickly, for the past 2 or 3 weeks, how have Arsenal been so tactically dominant?
It's a matter of genuinely game-by-game management.
Okay.
We absolutely man pressed.
You guys are so
Brighton.
good off goal kicks. So good.
Like and this is Brighton, and I've seen Brighton rip teams apart with playing out the back.
Mate, the Zerbi.
We went man for man every single time, and it just went long, and we got the ball back, and then we got a shot on goal, and we just couldn't score.
Good teams press for 45 minutes. Great teams press for 60 minutes.
The best teams press for 90.
And I swear to God, I didn't see Gabby Saka stop pressing from the front. That's what you do. You chase every single ball.
But it was Rice.
It was incredible.
So basically, a lot of the game,
yes.
Rice would be pressing the midfielder that would be getting right in the middle of the field. Man of times I saw him win that ball. If he didn't win the ball, Saliba was on the next player right in front of him, which more than likely was Evan Ferguson. I saw Saliba tag Evan Ferguson around the field.
I think he's actually still in the stands at the moment. Yeah, he's in row A.
He's at home with him. He's made it to home with him and back to training.
Off the podcast, off the podcast.
It's a different type of podcast.
Correct.
Look, I think at the end of the day, tactically, I think between the form that the players are in, like this man over here, mate, he
looks good in the gym.
Killing it. Honestly, like I got to thank that person who ever dropped it off at my house. Like, mate, it was.
We're still yet to find out.
We're still yet to find out. It was like, you know, when you drop babies off in front of the fire station. Someone just dropped the Havertz jersey at my house.
Abs. Now, probably the biggest game of your season, the biggest game of Liverpool's season.
Yeah.
Is that man going to take you to a win, or do you think there's going to be someone else? Because for my prediction, if Liverpool play the way they do, I think it's Arsenal. I think Arsenal are going to run away with it. Liverpool were that poor.
Yeah.
Is it an Anfield or is it at the Emirates?
Anfield.
Okay. The crowd has to step up as well. The crowd has to give you hell.
Or the Crickets.
Against Man U, yes. But I'm just saying, they have to step up if they got any chance.
Yeah. Well, look, I kind of want to break it down a little bit.
Okay.
I think that if Arsenal can go to Anfield tactically, and what I think is going to happen is we're going to nullify their midfield. Their lack of 6 is going to come.
They've got no 6.
They've got no 6.
Sorry.
So right now, Trent is stepping into midfield. Okay. He's playing that 6 role, that deep kind of lying midfield role. Okay. Declan Rice comes into midfield, and I think he kind of cuts the lanes.
Yes.
Going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to kind of nullify Trent's role coming into midfield. And we've seen it against Brighton, and I've seen it against Villa, how he was able to dominate. Okay. Whether he tags Trent, or whether he tags, if Dominic's playing or McAllister's playing in the 6, I think he's done his role there.
Yep.
This man, he's going to be very important. Because Liverpool like that cross-field ball. They're constantly having that ball in the air during the game.
It's that diag.
It's that diagonal. Okay. And Kai Havertz, statistically this year, has been absolutely class when it comes to aerial duels, when it comes to ground duels.
Yeah.
And he's actually outdone Granit Xhaka when it comes to those statistics.
I didn't know.
Okay. The other thing is the fact that Trent stepping into midfield is going to open up that slot down the right.
Agree.
Okay. And of all people to have there is good old Gabriel Martinelli. All right? Who's that going to cause trouble for? That's going to drag Van Dijk out of position.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And then Havertz can sort of float in that free wall, as we explained 2-3 episodes ago. He's incredible with that. For me, is the one player that you can't really track and mark out of a game.
Yeah.
He just floats.
He just knows where to be at the right time.
Correct.
And I am telling you, when he scored that goal against Brighton, I just wanted to see that him in like a gazelle in open space. I wanted to see it, and he put it away. And mate,
sources say that's his new wallpaper on the phone. We won't confirm, but that's the new wallpaper possibly on the phone.
Oh look, it's
Abs, if you were to give a prediction on the game, give me a scoreline, because I'll give you mine after you give me yours, because I want to see the Arsenal fans' view.
3-1.
Whoa.
But I'm telling you now, Zinchenko is going to have a nightmare.
Okay.
I think Salah's going to give him more hell. Yeah, in all honesty, I think his role in midfield will be important going forward, because like I said, if Declan Rice does his job, and that box of Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard and Zinchenko plays a big role,
I think Salah's going to have it, yeah. So he's going to have a field day.
He's going to have a field day. But at the same time, we go back to Gabby and Saliba, who haven't really been troubled by anyone this season. Yeah. So whoever they play up front, I don't think will play a factor.
If Big Darwin's there,
mate. We're good to go.
But I think for me, personally, I think Liverpool can't be that bad 2 weeks in a row in terms of finishing wise.
No, but
I think Salah's going to score a 20-yard, 15-yard curler from outside.
Yeah.
For me, I think 2-1.
Arsenal?
Yep. 2-1 Arsenal, definitely.
Yeah. Look, we'll see. Yeah.
Are you confident? Put it that way. Are you confident?
I don't think we have 2 games in a row where we struggle to finish either.
Ooh, so you think it's a matter of who takes the chances?
I think it's a matter of who takes the chances. And in all honesty, tactically, and I've said it before, and I'm going to say this right down to the camera, Liverpool this season have had many, many, many chances where they have gotten away with the other team not being at their best. Special case, that Manchester City game. Yeah. Could have very well been 3-1, 4-1. Crystal Palace got the red card, changed the game.
True.
Okay, that Tottenham game as well.
Yeah, they were. No.
Even when before that red card.
Hard done by, but.
Yeah. Hard done by. Yeah. Could have very well been a draw. Could have very well been a loss. They could have gotten an extra point.
Yeah.
But my point is I don't think Liverpool are at their best. I don't think Liverpool, have been good enough to be at the top of the table or near the top of the table. I think their luck has reined them in all honesty. And I think that's going to end soon. In all honesty. I think Arsenal, on the other hand, have not yet, aside from that Chelsea game, gone into a game where they've been tactically beat. That was the only game I will put my hands up and say, correct, you were better than us that day. You should have got something. Every other game has been.
That's nice. You never said that before. I appreciate that.
I'm an honest fan, but I could tell you every game that we've played, if we have lost or we have drawn, has been on our own accord, or VAR has messed up. Yeah. But look,
onto a team that doesn't need VAR at the moment, mate. Girona, still from last week. They're first, mate. I'll tell you what, it's starting to look like a possibility. Rail's following them. Those two are starting to pull away. Yeah. Atletico, they dropped points against Athletic Club, and even this morning 3-3 with Getafe. Yeah. Barcelona 1-1 against Valencia. Don't even get me started on Barca. Yeah. Mate, it's not looking good for them too. So between Girona and Rail, they're looking good. If we want to go quick to the Real Madrid game, 4-1 victory, mate, 38-year-old Luka Modric, he's not too bad, is he?
That's my brother. That's my brother.
Man, goal and an assist. The assist to Bellingham was incredible. Wasn't even looking. First time cross just went bang.
He's
superb.
That's a match made in heaven.
Silky.
Honestly.
Silky.
Like Jude Bellingham, like I said, that's an astonishing start to the season.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
In your words, still not as good as
Suarez. Still not as good as Suarez and Haaland's of the world and your Messi's.
Quickly, before we go to Serie A, as that meme says, that's my favourite meme in the world. You don't understand. Especially when he goes, Man United, Champions League. My favourite.
I love it.
Question. Do you think that if Jude keeps up this form, is there a better candidate at the moment for the Ballon d'Or? If you say Messi, I'm out of this room, you don't understand. I'm getting out of this room.
Mate, Messi shouldn't have had that's a different conversation. He shouldn't have had about half of those Ballon d'Ors. Look, I personally think that when you look at the Ballon d'Or, you got to look at consistency.
Okay.
Consistency.
Yep.
Right now, Bellingham's been consistent.
Yep.
7, 8 out of 10 consistent performances.
Every match day.
And I'm asking you, as a non-Arsenal fan, Declan Rice.
Here we go.
Declan Rice.
Here we go.
Name a performance that has not been an 8 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 every single game. Even that game against you guys, he was flat out almost man of the match.
Can I name you something?
Yes. Don't say Cole Palmer.
How many... Cold Palmer. Ice cold. How many defensive midfielders have won the Ballon d'Or?
Not many. But I think...
So you think big Declan Rice,
I think...
the ex-Chelsea boy, is going to break that trend? Not a chance.
The ex-West Ham boy.
Yeah, start at Chelsea.
We don't talk about that.
Okay.
I'll
tell you what. Rice, he'll get nominated. I agree.
Yeah.
Do I think he'll finish inside top 10? Not a chance.
Look, the Real Madrid tax will come in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think Bellingham, for me, odds-on favourite. If he keeps going.
Harry Kane.
He's had it too easy in the Prem. He's had it too easy in the Bundesliga.
Look, in all honesty, he's a shout. If anyone's going to win it, it could be him, could be Jude, could be a whole English.
He has to win the Champions League. Okay, if Jude wins the Champions League with Madrid, who are my odds-on favourites to win it, does he get the Ballon d'Or? If he's a big case. And he's got to win La Liga, obviously. If Girona do the upset, then Jude's out.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to give it to him. We all know that right now. They're so far up. He's yeah, wahoo.
He's the golden boy.
Yeah.
Speaking of Harry Kane, Xavi Alonso, Leverkusen, still first. 4 points with a game in hand to Bayern ahead. Possibly only 1 point ahead at the moment as we speak. Is the Bundesliga too easy for him?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
He was linked with Madrid, obviously. I think it still would have been too easy for him in Madrid as well. I still think so. Because you got League One, Farmers League, in my opinion. Bundesliga, second easiest league out of those top 5.
Yeah.
And then I put Serie A La Liga. Serie A's picked up in the last 3 or 4 years. I can't even chat shit about them. They've been a very, very defensive league for the past 20 years.
Yes.
These last 3 or 4 years, exciting stuff to watch.
I must say, I think Harry Kane would have succeeded there. He's physical enough. He's big enough. He would have brought it.
Madrid?
In the Serie A.
Oh, okay.
I think he's big enough. He's strong enough. And you look at the strikers that have succeeded there lately. You got your Lukaku's.
Yeah.
You got your Zlatans. They're big, physical.
Higuain back in the day.
Higuain, like
Icardi.
Yeah.
Sort of.
And even those, your Dybalas of the world and like
big, but
they're not big.
Big difference in build. But big difference
in terms
in
of style of play, he's able to kind of, ball play up front as well. So Harry Kane, let's be honest, would have succeeded wherever he went.
Yeah.
Okay. I think La Liga would have been a cop out. You're gonna win a trip. You're gonna win a trophy with Real Madrid there.
Yeah.
Bayern's an interesting one. I think. I don't know. It is easy for him. Honestly, he's scoring goals from halfway. Like he's scored his 22nd goal in 14 games or something crazy like that.
It's absurd. But he should have made it out of the German Cup. But
that's a Tottenham in him, mate. That's a Tottenham in him.
You know what's interesting for me?
Yeah.
Dortmund becoming a falling star slowly. You reckon?
Yeah, I think they've sold one too many of their good players.
1, 2, 3, man.
But I mean, like, you could push it and push it and push it and push
Sancho, Aubameyang, Haaland,
Mkhitaryan when he was cooking,
Emre Can.
Yeah, like you could go on and on and on. I'm pretty
Gundogan.
sure. Didn't was it Sule? Sule just
Nicholas,
yeah. Like there's a good chunk of them lately that they've sold. You're selling your core.
I can't put any negativity on clubs, but you do what you got to do to survive, of course. But I'm sure that Dortmund is a big enough club with their shirt sales and stuff like that and their reputation that they don't need to become a seller club. They're not a Brighton. They're not a West Ham.
No, but Tom, they're starting to go down the route.
Correct, absolutely.
But they're going to look at the players they're signing instead now. Like you're selling, all right, let's be honest.
Mats Hummels came back at 37 years old.
Like let's be honest here. You're selling players for 100 and 120 million. And then what? You're signing 20 million players in this market.
That's not right.
What's that going to do for you?
Nothing.
Look, honestly, on that note, there's another club as well that's fallen. I think Dortmund's fallen too far down for me.
Yeah.
I know they're only in 5th, but that's Borussia Dortmund we're talking about. It was
true.
always the second best team in the league.
2013 Champions League finalist.
What do you mean? They almost won the league last year.
True. Oh, that was sad.
That was very sad.
You know what was sad for? Marco Reus. For me, I was sad. obviously 2014 World Cup, we all know what happened there.
He deserved better.
You know who surprised me as well? Union Berlin. Fall from grace hard.
Right.
Really, really hard.
Yeah.
They've smashed the ground like that.
They've gone from top 4 to all the way down the bottom.
Bad. Really bad. I can't explain it, honestly.
Yeah.
You know who hasn't? You know who's stayed consistent? Inter Milan, not Miami, obviously.
Right. 39 goals, 7 conceded.
In how many? 16, 17
16 games.
Oofed.
They're cooking, mate. You got Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram on 30 goals and assists combined.
Wow.
And we're only 16 games into the Serie A season. It is an absolute cookout at Inter Milan right now.
Who needs Big Rom?
Mate, they're making money. They're making money, mate.
But no, the Nerazzurri is doing absolute wonders this year, I agree.
Yeah.
And for me, last year was tight as well, and obviously Napoli stormed away with it. I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
But I think Inter, they won it in 2020 with my boys Brozovic and Perisic at the helm of it. But I think ever since 2019, Juve sort of stepped away. This year, they're quite achievers, I must admit. They're second place, not too far from Inter.
Yeah.
But I'm happy for Inter. Really, really am. I'm happy. It's going to be interesting how the San Siro react with AC and Inter Milan's. That's going to be interesting.
Look, can I be honest with you, though? That squad they've got now is a very strong squad.
They got depth. That's the thing. They got depth.
Very, very good depth. And even with the players that they've released, I'll be honest with you, I think they've gone about their business well. That's all I got to say.
Yeah,
so, you know, like, just players, squad players. You've got your DeMarcos, you've got your Kalanoglus at the moment, who's doing really well. Your Barellas, your Dumfries. You've got, you know, it's going well for them. I can't look. I'm a Juventus boy. Yeah. Who I think they're doing well for themselves this year.
Quite a chance,
considering the finish last year.
They've sort of gone under the radar.
They have, and
ever since that point deduction, they've sort of
flown under the radar.
Yeah, and I think that's smart for their business and their model as well.
Yeah, it's not the first time either. So, look. Yeah, I think, look, I probably move on to, I think, one thing we talked about last week, which was Australian football and the scenario there. So, no, we've had a good week to ponder on this topic.
We have.
And, you know, we've gone in, done a bit of research, we've talked about it together. Yeah. And, yeah, want to kick us off?
Yeah, for me, I just want to make a statement before. I'm a part of that football system. I've been in it for my entire life, and I'm sort of in a position I understand it very well. Yeah. And I can't be critical of the governing body because, quite frankly, without a customer, without a product, you don't have nothing. No. So I can't really be too critical of the decision makers up top. However, I think with this channel, it's sort of given me a voice, and I haven't changed my thoughts. All my mates know I haven't really changed my thoughts on Australian football and what it is, because, Abdul, we have so much potential.
I agree.
We are so culturally diverse. The UBF podcast, we did an away day last week at Brighton Beach, and we saw boys just kicking balls, and we went up to them, Portuguese lads, Syrian lads, Arab lads, Wogs lads, Brazilian boys, South America. You have so much cultural depth here. Yeah. How can you not succeed? It burns me, it saddens me, because we were at Federation Square when Big Mitchell Duke scored against Tunisia, me and my boy Matt. We were there, and the scenes there, honestly, Abdul, for me, besides Western Sydney Wanderers winning the Champions League in 2014, I get a bit emotional thinking about it. It was like, this is the first time in my life that I really connected well with football in Australia. And I went, this feels like Europe. Yeah. This feels like Europe, South America. It just feels like we belong on the stage. Yeah. It feels like we had a platform. And ever since that World Cup and the Matildas' amazing successes, it's gone down. And you can't say we live for a tournament, because football will not succeed if that's the mentality. No. You have to capitalize on these tournaments. And for me, Abdul, I don't think we've done enough. Do you have any thoughts on our after tournaments? What do you think we've done? We've done nothing, because you can't think about it, can you? Yeah. Be honest with me.
Look, and you go back and you touch on that point last Saturday at Brighton. You see the diversity. You know what it is like. Even I go back to I'm of Lebanese background. Yep. And even when I grew up watching rugby league, there was one main Lebanese man on that field, Mr. Hazem Al-Mazri. And
Belmore Oval, lads.
And look, I wish I could probably name a Lebanese Socceroo.
Yep.
I can't think of one.
Yep.
But you look, he's just like me. Like, it gives you something to look at, something to
gives something to work for, to idolize.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying it in the sense of our Socceroos aren't diverse enough, our system isn't diverse enough. It's more so that I know for a fact that a lot of where my people come from is not the most, high socioeconomic place. We don't get these opportunities all the time because, like we've talked about before, it costs, it's up to $2,500 just to get your 14-year-old, 15-year-old son into a certain level of football for them to succeed. And a lot of them don't get that opportunity and they fail because simply can't afford it.
People these days, Abdul, especially with the cost of living crisis and after obviously the pandemic, people can hardly afford to pay the exuberant fees to play in the league's top states. For example, you've got the MPL in New South Wales, likewise in Victoria and other states. But a lot of talented players, boys yourself, I know boys, even females these days who are so talented and have showed promise have actually opted to play other sports because of the cost. How sad's that?
Yeah.
How sad's that? Like, even at Brighton, we'll go back to it. Honestly, Abdul, there was not one rugby league ball that I saw. There was no one playing cricket, no AFL, no volleyball, no basketball, nothing.
So football.
Abdul, it made me so happy.
Yeah.
Football belongs in this country. It's the world game after all.
It's the most popular sport here as well.
I'll tell you a fact that really scares me.
Yeah.
You ready? This is sad. Football is Australia's most popular game, obviously, with 1.139 million people participating. This is from Sport Commission facts from the 2022 report. But federally, football gets only $2.3 million from the government. That is federally, Abdul. That is not New South Wales gets 2.3.
Yeah.
That is federally.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who plays paddleball or rowing. Paddle gets 5.5 million and rowing gets $8 million.
That's ridiculous. Honestly, that's ridiculous.
How do you expect to have the facilities? We have no facilities in football. There is no facilities. There is inadequate playing resources. And I've been to changing rooms. I've been to lockers.
Yeah.
The state of some of the lockers are disgusting. And I can't blame the FFA or associations, New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, if you don't have the money. They've got better things to spend their money on. Yeah. Youth development. I understand that. But the government, they promised to give money to rugby league this year.
Yeah.
They promised. Rugby league is already thriving, successful game.
Yeah, but you also got to look at it from a different perspective.
I understand. But if you look at it from that perspective, you should cater to who plays the sport the most. It's exactly like a democracy, Abdul. Rugby league have 279,000 participants, right?
Yes.
Compared to 1.13 million.
Across
if everyone was to do a vote, who would win?
Across the states. No, football would win.
Thank you.
Football would win.
So, as a democracy, you should cater to what your people play and what your people want.
I agree. Football should get more funding. But you also got to realize why they're giving rugby league more money.
Tell me.
The fees in rugby league aren't as expensive as football. You could probably put your kid into rugby league for about $100.
But that is because the bulk of the work falls to the clubs. That's the fact. You have to respect clubs that do what they do to have to stay afloat.
You've still got to keep these changing rooms going. You've still got to keep that equipment going. You've still got to pay for the jerseys. You still got to make sure you get the smart. It's the same process. It's just that football. I agree with you. Football, being soccer, should be getting more funding, but I also think it's wrong. It's so wrong that you're paying $2,500 to have your kids in football.
It's disgusting.
But it makes sense as to why.
Because of the money.
Because of the money not coming through.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. You can't blame the clubs and the associations.
There needs to be a balance. There genuinely needs to be a balance.
So what would your solution be?
You got to relook at the plan. So let's just say they've given, how much was it in terms of money to rugby league? Was it?
I think it's definitely above. We're talking 15 more, probably more, 100 mil more.
Put it this way. I think as Australia, I think up to a certain age, sport shouldn't cost you a certain amount. Let's just say it should be capped at $200 per player, whatever sport it is. AFL, NRL. Okay, once you get to age 15 and above,
Yep.
when things start getting more competitive,
And I think that there's levels to that scheme.
Yeah.
Where the upper level should cost more, obviously, because you travel, gear, you got to factor in parents' petrol and stuff like that.
yeah, it should work off that in the sense of once you get to 15, it's up to the club then. Okay, it's up to the club what they charge. That also works on their facilities. Maybe funding that comes from the government has to be spent on the facilities, rather than it being spent on, you know, certain other things and sponsorships and so on and so on.
That's playing fields as well.
Yeah.
Our playing fields, for me, they are poor. Like I was saying before, in my area, we don't have a free to use synthetic pitch.
Yeah.
So what do you do when it's mud and rain? Tell me, what do you do?
You don't play.
You just sit there at home. Fixtures get cancelled.
Yeah.
You're already paying enough money as it is.
Yeah.
So what? Instead of 15 games per year, you play 10. And then with obviously our climate changing, etc., that's going to turn into 9, 8. What are my kids going to play? 6 games a year and play how much money?
That's the point. You used to just said it right. They're kids.
The most purest form of sport, obviously football for me, the most purest form of sport is when you're 5, 6, 7, there's no rules, you're playing on concrete, and you score a goal. Look at the kids' happiness in their face when they do that. That is what took me back on Saturday when I was at Brighton. Just simple things like that.
Yeah.
Watching all the boys and all the girls just do 2-touch, keeping it up in the air.
Yeah.
That is the most purest form of football. And we're robbing that of our kids.
Let me compare it back to rugby league for a sec. There's a reason why rugby league players, or let's just say young rugby league players, stick around the sport for so long. They stick around, Tom, till a lot of them till they graduate high school, 16, 17. Because even when they start working, they can afford to pay for it. It's affordable. They're enjoying it. They look up to these players. They look at players like Nathan Cleary. They look at players like your Dali Cherry Evans, your James Tedesco's, and they're able to play like them every weekend because their parents can afford to put them in it.
Because it's not as much.
Because it's not as much. Yeah. And there's training twice a week. And, you know, they make best of what they've got. And I've seen, you know, a lot of the time with the Greenacre Tigers training, and, you go through, the kids enjoy it. Yep. They look forward to coming in for half an hour, for an hour, Correct. Running at the bags, doing what they need to do. It's simple because their parents can drop them off. It's not costing them as much and they can go.
Yep.
What happens when you love football at 13 and 14 and it's the love of your life and your parents don't say, oh, sorry, can't afford it.
They can't.
I can't afford it.
And those are the kids. Those are the kids that come from that multicultural background, who have that drive, who have that passion. That's why other countries succeed, in my opinion. And we're robbing that of them showing their talent.
Look, there has to be more avenues. I don't know whether it needs to come through scholarships or whether it needs to come through camps or systems, or, you know, whether separate, you know, organizations need to run these things and maybe outsource it elsewhere. But I mean outsource, I mean connect themselves to overseas, similar to, and I go back, and this is why I think it works so well. I go back to the rugby league format. The Bulldogs have a camp in New Zealand. In New Zealand, and it's not due to the whole talent thing.
Yep.
They've got a few in Fiji, and it goes around.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's academies around football that do that as well. But for me, Abdul, if I was to pinpoint it, obviously federal government for me is the big one in terms of funding. The other thing I would like to say is that for me personally, I can't stand the associations and the FFA.
No.
But if I was to say something, a number of decisions were made many years ago, especially with the closing of the NSL. I'm not going to speak on that. I wasn't around. I was 5, 6 years old at that time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've heard stories of that and what's happened. So I can't condone or make a comment on those behaviours. However, for me, that started a negative trend where they put the money and this aspiration of the world game before the fans.
Yeah.
If you don't have a product, as I was saying, that the customers want to buy, what's the point? That's the thing. Obviously, you look at flares being banned. You look at certain active groups in the A-League expressing themselves. No offense to rugby league, AFL, cricket or anything. You guys don't have that passionate fans. I'm sorry. It's just simple as it is. Because you look at Europe, that's who we are. We're migrants in this country, Abdul. Yeah. Myself and you included.
Yeah.
We bring what our parents experienced over there. And that is the mentality that we're trying to instill in football, because it's the world game. It's not Australia's game. It's not Europe's game. We're trying to bring that here. And if they're going to close that down and shut us out and just watch the game and go, okay, when we score a goal, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yay. What's the point? What's the point? You can't express yourself.
I'm gonna go back to that as well. And when you say, you bring up that, you know, rugby league doesn't have it, so on and so on, it doesn't have it anymore. Like, in all honesty, you go back 30 years ago, you know, rugby league, you'd spend Sunday, you get there at 2 p.m. at Belmore Sports Ground, you're watching about 4 different leagues and levels of rugby league. You could send the whole family there for about 20, you know, let's just say.
It becomes a whole day out.
Put it this way, I'm gonna bring it to today's market. You'd probably take your whole family out for about $50-$60. You know, you'd pay for a good meal. Everyone would enjoy their day. It's all affordable. It's all involved. It's all a community, and I think the right word to use is community, because you could play it at all levels. You could watch it at all levels, and it was all affordable. Right now, how many people do you know that loved football for 13, 14 years of their life, their first 13, 14 years of their life, but lost connection for the next 4 years and only found it through watching it about 6 years later? I know too many, and too many talented ones as well. And that's the problem, is that people are falling out of love with the sport because they can't reach that sport anymore, because they're not able to kind of connect with it anymore. And why is that? Because of the one thing that I honestly think is the most evil thing in the world, it's money.
Of course.
And a lot of clubs, and I don't blame these clubs. I don't blame the FA. It is the federal government. It is them not giving them enough funding. And I'm not going to agree with the fact that maybe in the rugby league shouldn't have gotten as much. It's a matter of you need to give more to sport. Australia is a sporting nation. We love our sport.
It is. The only thing I would think, if you look at, you can't argue with statistics.
You can't.
You can argue it on the tactic board, and stats don't lie. At the end of the game, stats generally predict the outcome of a game, except if you're Man City and Crystal Palace. However, you look at the numbers that are playing football, and you look at the numbers that are playing rugby league. That is almost 800,000 people. As a democracy, what do you give to make the majority of your people happy? Tell me. You give them what they want, so the government stays in power.
Yes. But
it doesn't make sense to me how football gets, what's our figure? $2.3 million compared to paddleball. Do you know anyone that plays paddleball? No, I'm just a serious.
I actually don't.
Jules in the back? No. Akbar?
No.
Yeah, no.
No one knows paddleball. You own a paddle?
I own a paddle.
Do you own a ball?
For table tennis, yes.
Yes, okay.
But it is seriously concerning, that $2.3 million. And there is no easy fix. We can't get Anthony Albanese here to have a chat.
No.
But maybe one day. But it's no easy fix. It's a long process. And I think we need to look at our home ground and start like that as well. We need to make those small steps to implement in our own clubs and possibly have those chats. I worked as a secretary for my club 3 or 4 years ago, and you can implement those small little changes. That's only one club.
Yeah. Look,
hopefully that seed spreads.
I think I'm gonna leave it with this. I think at the end of the day, the federal government has failed us with a lack of funding, and it's led to all these facilities that we're talking about, these parks, these opportunities, all of these things that, you know, these young kids that are missing out on just because they can't afford it. Yeah. I think if we're gonna pinpoint a solution, I guess it's spreading out that funding that people get, and it's just a matter of time. Till I think things need to change, because I know more than enough people that have fallen out of love with this game because simply it's just money. And
I'm going to leave it with this. Football in this country is on a very, very limited timepiece. It's on a rope. If we don't act before this next World Cup, you won't see another golden generation.
No, you won't.
You won't. You won't see another golden generation, because the 2006 generation inspired this generation currently.
Yeah.
Okay, we did our highest finish in the World Cup ever. However, now with the cost of living, it's only going to go higher and higher and higher. The Matildas are doing wonderful things, and the girls' participation rates are going through the roof, which is amazing. Credit to them.
100%.
But it's the world game. It's not just men's, it's females as well. Yeah. So we need to make it a level platform. And we need to act now, guys. We need to change the landscape of football. My goal is for football to become the most watched sport and the most loved sport in the world. You saw the Matildas, Channel 7 highest number attendance of any live sporting event in 2023.
Oh, look, I'm pretty sure like it thrashed State of Origin. Like, I love league, but it put us all through State of Origin.
And that's the girls. Yeah. That is incredible. That's unheard of. Unheard of, Abdul.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of, again, it's another topic, but it's a matter of when you watch women's football, once you actually adjust your eye, by that I mean like,
You adjust the lens.
Just the lens. You're not watching the men's game.
Yep.
It's a beautiful game.
It's a quality product.
It's quality product.
It's a quality product. 100% it is.
And look, I'm going to leave this with our viewers. Spend the weekend, whether you want to take out your little brother, your little sister, you got kids, whoever's watching this, take them out to a soccer game. Whether that's a Wanderers game, whether it's your local game, your local park. MPL, whatever your local is, however you feel. Just spend the day, watch a game, and realize what we mean. Look at, whether it's, your under 13s or whether it's your under 18s, the joy is there, the determination is there.
Yep.
And, the diversity is there as well. And especially in like we've said, in our areas. So just take them out and let us know what you think. And honestly, I think you'll completely understand where we're coming from with this conversation.
It's Christmas time. You're going to be with your families.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to all our viewers as well. It's Christmas time. Spend it with your family. Kick a ball. And trust me, you will understand the joy that it brings to someone's life. Please, viewers, people who are watching, we need to save Australia football. We need to do it because I believe with the diverse cultural landscape and geographical landscape that we have in this country, we can have an amazing product.
Yeah.
Trust me, we can have an amazing product. And everyone agrees in this room that we need to change it for the better. And hopefully our podcast can be a shining light and leader in that aspect, hopefully 3 or 4 months down the line when we gain a bit of traction. But let's save Australian football, guys. We can do it. We can all save it together.
Leave any sort of thoughts, comments, opinions on anything that we've said about that. Whether, at the end of the day, we're just two mates sitting here to talk about football.
Absolutely.
But I think we have the same passion. And as this title says, we are united about football at the end of the day. So I think we'll leave it at that for this week. I think next week we have to touch on the UCL draws as well. Yeah, we do. Some big ones. You got Napoli, Barcelona sort of catching my eye. I know those games are going to be played in February. Yeah. Valentine's Day, big day. But obviously you got football as well. Yeah. So hopefully our viewers can separate their time accordingly with their romantic partners. Yeah. But Abz, I think we'd love to wish all our viewers a Merry Christmas to their souls and family and Happy New Year. Yeah. We'll definitely be back through the holiday period to send out another episode as per usual. Consistency is key. Yeah. And Abz, any thoughts? Yeah, look out. We're gonna hopefully. I think we've got a few different type of videos in the works. Hopefully. Correct. Yep. Yeah. So keep an eye out. And yeah, I guess that's been it. Look, I've been Abz. I've been Thomas, and this is United About Football. Thank you.